Hey, creating your future with your own experiences. What the hell am I talking about? Let's find out. Hello, everyone. Good morning. It is 7 a.m. My name is John Henry Soto, and it is the 3rd of June, 2021. And weather's nice. Had a couple of nice days. Yesterday, I did something that I was kind of proud of myself. I I walked. I was in New York City, the Big Apple, and I walked from 86th Street, Lexington, all the way down to 14th Street, and I think like Fifth Avenue or something. Took a I don't know, hour and a half or so, whatever it was, something like that, and I felt really great. I also didn't do any social media while my walk. I wanted to completely move away from all the technology. I just put my phone away. I was listening to some music, and I just walked and enjoyed the city, enjoyed the little houses that have been built outside the restaurants, because you can't be inside to eat. You have to be outside to eat, but it was cold outside, so they had to build an inside for the outside so you can eat outside but still be inside warm, but you're still outside, because that's how this works. And so I saw all those walking down the street, and it was a lot of fun. I had a good time. And the fact that I didn't do any stories on Instagram or any pictures, I took nothing. It was just my own moment. I thought that was an interesting thing to do. You know, I'm moving more away from certain things in social media and focusing more on other things like this and more live stuff and more in the moment kind of things, as opposed to content and memes and things like that. I like doing those, especially if there's a funny one. I like putting those out there, but just kind of changing it up a little bit. Today's conversation is about creating your future with your own experiences, right? Because that's the only way you can create a future is with what you currently have inside of you, right? What you've experienced is what your reality is. So that's how you tend to make decisions based on what you've already learned, what you already know, what you've already experienced, good or bad. And that tends to be a little bit of a huge weight on our shoulders as we're going towards the future, right? So when someone says create your future, it sounds a little bit insane if you've already had a past that has been riddled with uncertainty. For you to say now this is going to be the future, you don't want to do that. It's like, I don't want that. I didn't have a good time moving forward to begin with. So, how can you create your future, right? Take responsibility for your future, right? Because people say, I can't remember who said it, famous quote, the best way to have the future that you want is to create it. I'm paraphrasing, but some shit like that. And it totally makes sense, right? So I'm gonna go over a couple of things here that I have that I know will be helpful in at least giving you another sense of um, direction, another, or at least another viewpoint, right? These are all viewpoints. Everything I do here in the morning, it's definitely not set in stone, right? It is just a viewpoint for you to kind of look at, observe, critique, and then decide, what, this is valuable, this is not valuable, and this is going to work for me, this is not going to work, because not everything works for everyone that I talk about, right? There's a lot of things that maybe are unreal to someone. But I think for the most part, this particular subject and these particular steps that I'm going to be talking about, I think they relate to everyone. And and you can tell me if I'm wrong or not. All right. So, I've been looking, I always look at the screen when I'm doing my show, but the camera is right there. So, if you're out there and you can see this, let me know. Does this look better if I just talk like this? I do have to look down every once in a while because I have my notes, but if I'm like this, does this look better if I'm having a conversation? I feel like I should be looking at all of you as opposed to doing this where it's sort of like I'm just um Al Pacino in Scent of a Woman, you know. Ooh, ah. So we'll see. But anyway, let me know what your thoughts are on that. All right, so let's go to number one here. Numero uno. Numero uno. Okay, so this is actually an interesting thing, right? Make friends with uncertainty and change. So, not go out and make friends. I mean, of course, you should always go out, but make friends with uncertainty and change. So, be friends with the idea of having uncertainty and change. A lot of change sometimes makes individuals fairly uncomfortable, right? And they tend to then decide they don't want change. They prefer things exactly the way they are, and it's really difficult to grow in a stale environment when there's no growth, you know. Um, Good morning, good Joel Hernandez. What's up, my man? Childhood friend of mine. Awesome. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. So we're discussing we're discussing creating our future. So number one, um, make friends with uncertainty. Understand that there is going to be uncertainties with whatever decisions that you make, because that's what life's about. You never know what's on the other side of it, but you can control it if you are okay with it and you make friends with it and you actually embrace the idea of change and things that you're uncertain about. It's okay to have these feelings as long as you are aware that you're having these feelings. And this requires for you to seeing change as an opportunity, not a threat. you know so when you see something changing, it's an opportunity for growth, it's an opportunity for expansion of your dynamics, a better opportunity for your family. Um, and the most effective way to manage change, right, successfully, is to create it. You create the change that you want in your life, right? So that's number one, and I think that one is a very important one because it really sets everything up for the rest of them, right? The next one is look for and find the future. So we talked a little bit about this yesterday in the last couple of shows where we're talking about visualizing and visualization. People talk about putting themselves in a certain place and they close their eyes and they see themselves, not in some weird way, but really find the future that you want and really start seeing yourself in that future, right? And one of the future um moments that you can have are the ones that you can create here in the present, right? You can have those futures by creating them in your mind. So you can actually say, it goes back to when I was younger growing up. I wanted to be a musician and I would see myself playing. I wouldn't, like some kids would be like basketball players, right? They would want to be, hey, Michael Jordan, I'm Michael Jordan, I'm Michael Jordan. And for musicians, they'd be like, hey, I'm Eric Clapton, I'm Jimi Hendrix, I'm Santana. I never did that. I always did, I'm John Henry Soto, or John Soto back then. John Henry, I added the Henry later. Um, I'm John Henry Soto, and I'm playing. I would see myself playing. I wouldn't pretend to be any other person. I would always envision myself being on stage performing, and I would always look for that future. And I would find that future in my own experience, in my own space, in my own mind, and that created, when it came true, when I actually was able to go on stage, I didn't feel like I was so like, what am I doing here? Like I wasn't like a deer in the headlights. I knew where I was because I'd been there already. I put myself in that in that space. I put myself in that situation, and so I was sort of already aware of it, right? So you can also, if you tap into the work of future related thought leaders and think tanks and business and academic organizations, think of these people that are always future thinkers. Follow them. The Jeff Bezos and the Mark Zuckerbergs and all these guys that think into future stuff. And I know that there's a lot of controversy on what they're doing and trying to take over the world and Google and all that stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about they are planning things, right? So why not educate yourself on what that is so you actually know where you fit in and you can actually put yourself into that future, but you're in the present time using, of course, all your experiences that you've had in the past, and knowing that the future is really going to be what you make it if you're willing to do number one, which is make friends with uncertainty and change, right? Because obviously the future is always change, it's always different, right? There's always a new moment coming, right? That's what the future is, right? It can't be the same. It's impossible. Everything is different. We're aging, our blood circulating is different. The foods we eat are different food, even though it may be the same slice of pizza, it's a different slice of pizza, right? If it's the same pizzeria place, it's a different slice that you're getting. So everything changes, everything's different. The future is different. All right, the next one is all right, that's not the third one. The third one is practice relentless self development. Now, I talk a lot about self development. Self development is whatever you want it to be, right? For me, it's my religion, my courses that I do, my read. It gives me opportunities to understand more about myself and the world around me and spirituality and all these things. And it breaks it down for me beautifully. And I've been doing that for 25 years, over 25 years now. Wow, over 25 years. And that's what I use. I also have other things that are personal development things. Helping other people. Doing this show is personal development for me. Um, Playing my guitar, personal development. You know, Mainly it's the religion, but it's also hanging out with my kids, hanging out with my wife, having conversations about what our future is and what we're planning and all the things that we're doing. That's personal development. It helps me be better, but the foundation has to be strong. So you need something there. You need something. Some people have philosophy. Some people, who are, I don't like organized religion. So they want to, but they say they're spiritual. They believe in something, they have some type of foundation that they can build something solid on and not have it be shaken, right? Because if your self development is shaken, it kind of reminds me a little bit of some of the recent the experiences that I've had with psychiatry and psychology and medication and stuff like that. With those types of things that help people, right? What I've seen is that it's a very thin veneer of help. It's not strong enough to get someone to the next thing. It may make someone feel better for the moment, but it's so shaky that if you go up to them and say, that stuff doesn't work, they would flip out. They would work because it's very thin. It's not a thing. It can be shattered very easily. So you need a foundation that's solid, something that's strong. I remember yoga. I know a lot of yoga instructors, and for the most part, all of them are fantastic. But I remember when I was working in New York City, there was this yoga instructor, and she was always very, very beautiful, beautiful, beautiful young girl, and she was always very um zen like in her approach, and she would say these, and she was a yogi and she really focused a lot. And then she had a bit of a situation, something was going on with her room, her massage room. She was also a massage therapist, and she did yoga for this for the organization that I was working for. And then one day she was flipping out, and she and I remember looking at her, and I was like, there was no reason for it to flip out on this situation. It seemed like it could be easily resolved and handled, but she didn't handle it well. And I thought, wow, all this Zen like thing and training and yoga and all this stuff, how thin of a veneer of help it really is if you're not applying it fully, right? Now, for whatever reason, that doesn't apply to everyone across the boards in that industry, but you need to have a solid foundation, personal development that's going to give you a solid foundation that you can build on. So if somebody comes along and tries to shake it, you're solid. You know what I mean? Solid. Like no, like I, yeah, there's no shaking my confidence in my personal development at this stage of my life. 25 years under my belt of studying, a wife, two kids. I'm very, very comfortable and confident in that area. So, from anyone on a billionaire can come in and try to shake my foundation, and it ain't gonna work. Um, and I don't know why a billionaire would actually want to do that. But my point is that it doesn't matter the status of a person trying to shake someone else's uh, stability, trying to shake in their foundation, right? It's not going to work on my end. So you have to find something, something that's going to um, give you that self development, personal development, and be relentless about it too. Just go at it full. Don't listen to anybody in your environment that's saying, like, why are you doing that? I remember when I started in my religion, very controversial religion, even till this day, no reason for it to be. All you have to do is just walk into a church and read a book, but whatever. So for me, I remember somebody early on saying, like, oh, you do that? You got to be careful with that, man. And I remember looking at them thinking, you don't even know, first of all, you don't know me that well, and you don't even know this particular person. You don't even know what this is that I'm doing. So you have no. There are people like that. It's their own insecurities. It's their own weaknesses that make them spew out stuff that they don't know anything about. They hear things from other people. They hear things, but they never investigated themselves, and then they make the judgment. So when you're reaching out for and when you're searching for a personal development and you're something that's going to impact you and your family around, you have to really be committed to it and be relentless on it, and don't let anyone shake that foundation, and don't let anyone sway you into what they think you should be doing if you don't feel that. If you feel comfortable doing it and you feel good, and that's the basic bottom line of any type of a religion or a philosophy or anything. If it makes you feel good and invincible and want to actually take over the world, if you feel that, then you're on the right track. If you feel a little weakness but you're hiding, or you don't want to even look at it, you better look at it. You better say, like, what am I doing? Is this really giving me the power that I need? And then look around in your environment. Am I doing the things that I want to be doing right now? Do I wake up in the morning with the same excitement to life and diving into any project that I'm involved in, or diving into my life head on, super excited every morning? Do I wake up, jump out of bed excited? If you're not, what would get you out of bed to be excited? What is that one thing that you jump out of bed because you're so excited to do, right? That's a tangible, actual productive thing, right? Not some people say, well, I just like sleeping, or I just like eating, I just like watching TV. I'm talking about something that, what is that one thing? Find that one thing and then try to find a way to do that. Try to find, you're not going to just do it if you haven't been doing it for a long time, but just try to find a way that you can work towards that. You reverse engineer, you get a plan, and you start working towards that plan to get to that one thing that you want to do in the mornings. Very important, this one with personal development. I talk a lot about this on this show. I think it's one of those things that people really have to really look at and spend a lot more time with it than anything else. It's a very powerful thing when you find that thing that gives you that ability to move forward in an incredibly powerful way, and it gives you the strength to be able to also help others when you really think about it, right? All right, so the next one. Let me get a sip of my Java. Had a conversation with somebody who I said Java, and they didn't know what Java meant. Isn't Java like a pretty common way of saying coffee? I thought that was. They were like, "What's Java?" And they thought it was like the computer thing, and I was like, "No, not Java script, computer, Java, coffee, Java." I never heard of that before. Maybe I don't know. I thought it was a common thing, but anyway. So the next one is remove and improve, which basically are sort of, you have to take control of removing the things that no longer make sense to you, right? So, and then do away with those things. So for example, like, I'll give you an example for us. About 10 years ago, when we moved here, as a matter of fact, we're coming in and we're setting up. We had certain cell phones that were about $200 a month. We had cable television, that we always had cable. When we lived in Sunnyside, Queens, we had cable. When we lived in East Harlem, we had cable. Before that, wherever I lived, I had cable television, and it had all the channels and all the whatever. And then one day, we're sitting here and I'm watching Cops. The Cops, bad boys, what you gonna do? I like that show, so I'm watching Cops, and I started thinking, we're spending, I think at that point was maybe close to two hundred and something dollars on on cable television. So I'm spending basically 200 something dollars to watch Cops. And I just thought, why are we doing this? This is such a waste of time. And I'm looking around the channels and I thought everything, but first of all, television is terrible except for um like Hulu and Netflix and HBO, um a couple of Disney Plus. They have very specific, and they have product. They create their own products, right? Their own projects that are very really well thought out. A lot of the projects that they do are really good, actually. But regular television, like CBS, ABC, NBC, when you watch them, it's terrible. Terrible. The evening talk show hosts are terrible. They're all one-sided, snide remark after another. They sit on this pedestal where they kind of feel like they know more about the world than the guest does, and their audience. They talk down to their audience. They're so smug. They are the worst. Talk shows, Johnny Carson, David Letterman, those were the kings. Johnny Carson being the king. I even like Joe Franklin. I like all the old guys. Dick Cavett. The guys that originated that style were great. And then something happened where it got very marketable, and the executives going, I think that you should change this format here. And when you ask these questions, ask questions more about this here. Don't ask so much about philosophy and about their thoughts. Ask some silly stuff about when they went to the park and what happened with their dog. And I think people love dogs. Let's get that in there. And let's show a picture of the dog. Charlie, can we get a picture of the dog here? This is what happens in these in on these shows. So television is terrible. My point on saying this is um that it was a terrible idea to have cable television. So we cut cable, we cut our cell phones and found a plan very inexpensive, which we're still not even paying $100 till today for both our phones with unlimited everything. Which, what else do you need? You know what I mean? I can unlimited everything. I do everything on my phone that I need to do to move the needle forward. So removing things from your life that make no sense. If you have two cars but you really only need one, do that. If you have a really expensive, huge house, but there's only like three of you, scale down, buy a smaller house. You know what I mean? Buy a house that not because you want to actually be less, or because you want to go backwards or something. No, because then you could take that money and invest it into something that you want to do. And if you're worried about what people are going to think, well, then that's a whole other conversation. I have shows on that, about caring about what people think. Don't give a crap. Trust me, it's not going to get you anywhere. When you take your last breath on this earth, the last thing you're going to think about is what those people thought of me, right? You're going to think about what you did yourself to get yourself to this place. Are you happy? Did you satisfy every urge that you had in surviving, right? All right, I've gone over now. I'm almost at. I'm going to start going over this because I'm tired of rushing my conversations. So I apologize if everyone just thought I was going to be here for 23 minutes and now they're like, "Oh, great. He's at 25 minutes. This freaking guy has no consideration for us." But I do apologize. And I don't think anybody out there speaks that way. Or maybe they do. If you do, send me a message. Send me a video. I want to see that. All right. So the last one here is determine your goals beyond the workplace. So what are your goals? We all have responsibilities and jobs and stuff. Thank you, Joel. I appreciate it. Joel says, cool message. Thank you. God bless. Appreciate it. God bless you, buddy. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. We're just wrapping up here on the last one. Um, determine your goals and beyond the workplace. So, what are your goals beyond the workplace? Well, the responsibilities that you have in the current state of your life, and what you're when you get up in the morning, and those responsibilities that you have. That's one whole aspect of life, right? Then there's other things of life. What are you doing to determine your goals beyond the workplace? What are you doing to fulfill those goals beyond the workplace, right? And you have to look at that as like, what do I do when I'm not working, right? If you're sitting in front of the TV, well, you might want to look at that and say, what can I do for 2 hours at night when I get home after dinner? I have maybe like a 2 hour block. Do I want to sit there and watch TV? Or do I want to take a class, an evening class, and learn something that I'm passionate about? Or maybe do I want to play my instrument, or learn how to play an instrument, or write a book, or write poetry, or go on social media and communicate with others and find friends and blah, 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 right? So that's number five. I'm going to cut it there because I can go on and on and on these subjects. And I will in the future. I'll actually be doing more. The next, tomorrow, I'm going to go over what I talked about um, yesterday, which is these successful actions for success that I wrote. I wrote this in 2013. It's something that I use that I don't always succeed on, but I try to do my best on it. And I found it to be very useful for myself, and I'm going to share it with you tomorrow, Friday, to take you into the weekend. All right, folks. I want to thank you all. If you like what I'm doing here, please like, share, and subscribe on the YouTube channel. Make sure you follow me on social media. I'm under John Henry Soto at everything, all social media. And send me any message. You can always email me at johnhenrysoto@protonmail.com. If you have any comments, any questions, need any help with anything, please feel free to message me at any time. Thank you all for your time. I appreciate you all. Make today great. Do the things that you love. Take care of yourselves. And as always, peace.